What's up everybody? Hope you're doing well. This is MD from MD Interactive, or you can call me Michiel in Dutch. And this video will be about Minergate, and I'll be explaining how to use Minergate and also general information about mining. This video will be long and it will contain lots of information. So if you don't understand something, just let it soak in for a couple days, do your own research, read a little bit, and basically do your homework. And if you still don't get something, don't be afraid to ask it in the comment section. You're always welcome to ask questions. Now, sometimes maybe in this video I'll be silent for a bit because I have to think how I'm gonna explain it the best way, and there's a lot of different aspects of Minergate, and I hope to do good, but hey, I'm not perfect, so let's start. First of all, you have to go to the Minergate website right here. What is Minergate? Minergate is a means for you to mine cryptocurrency. They were also one of the first crypto node mining pools in existence, and they have really large pools on, for instance, Monero, and also they have a large Bytecoin pool. Almost half of the entire world hash rate is being mined on these pools. Alright, so here you have the website minergate.com. If you don't know anything about mining cryptocurrency, that is alright. That will come later. This will be a general overview on how to use Minergate and basically explain all the functions and stuff on the website. It's a lot because they also have a program you can mine with and download, the GUI miner, and I will be explaining that one as well later on, but first the website. I'm gonna be switching to my inverted theme because it's a little easier on the eyes. I hope you guys don't mind that. So, alright. If you look at the main site, you have a chat function here. This is a great place for information because there's lots of guys here that know a lot about mining. So you gain a lot of information here and knowledge, and that can be used for many things, and it will help you out. So I do recommend here spending a little bit in the chat. Just avoid the moderators because they tend to give you a 20,000 year ban, and yeah, that's that. You won't be coming back. Alright, so here we can see that it says supported currencies. These currencies are mineable on Minergate. So for instance, you have Zcash here, Ethereum, Ethereum Classic, BTC, LTC, BCN, XMR, and so on. Okay, I'm gonna be telling you guys something really important. I think that Infinium 8 is a dead coin, so you don't want to mine that. And also I think perhaps Moneda Verde is also a dead coin. What does that mean? That they are unsupported, and if you mine them you can't use them. As you can see here, you can see workers. There is still people mining these coins, and that is sad because they're mining something that is useless. Minergate could do this a little better and remove these coins so that people don't actually mine them anymore, but hey, it's not Minergate's responsibility to teach people what is good and what is not good, because the development of these coins is out of Minergate's control. So basically, if something happens tomorrow with, say, Bitcoin, and the whole system crashes down, it won't be Minergate's fault to tell you, hey, it's bad. That is your own responsibility. So make sure you do your research on which coin you'd like to mine, and do your research well before you start anything, because you don't want to be mining for a year and then find out you've been mining something useless for a huge while, wasting all your power and your time. So that is actually the first important thing that I wanted to tell you guys, especially the new people that watch this video that don't know much about mining. Be sure that you check which coin is dead, and with dead I mean unsupported. The development has ceased and the coins cannot be traded or exchanged. Sure, there might be one person in the world who wants them, but you know, it will be hard with no wallets, or wallets that aren't really working anymore. Basically, it will be risky and dangerous. So, that being said, we can see more information here, such as pool, world, pool fee, workers, rate. Alright, I'm gonna be explaining this for you. Pool means the Minergate pool. As you can see, Zcash is doing 20 kilosouls. Ethereum is doing 50 gigahashes. These are the Minergate pool hash rates. So this is what Minergate is churning out. As you can see here, Monero is about 30 megahashes, and the entire world does 250 megahashes. So this is a good 10-15% of the entire world hash rate on Monero. As you can see here for Bytecoin, it's almost half, because the Minergate Bytecoin pool is doing 1.3 megahashes and the world is doing 3.7. So this is almost half of the entire world hash rate. So here you have world, and that is basically what the world, the entire globe, every miner worldwide combined hash rate. So for Bitcoin, it's yeah, very high hash rate, as you can see. For Litecoin, it's 30 terahashes. So yeah, just a few. You can see here. Actually, digital node is almost the entire world hash rate in this pool. 2 megahashes. So these are interesting bits of information that can help you know what is hot, what is not, and it can also tell you a lot. For instance, you see here Infinium 8. Now there's this item here, I don't know what that means exactly, but there's no world hash rate perhaps, or it cannot be measured. but you can see that there's not many workers, and if there's not many workers, it tells you that people aren't interested in mining it, or something is wrong, or it can mean many things, but that already gives you a hint. Hey, what is going on Infinium 8? Is that a good coin? Well, if you can see here, probably not, because there's not too many workers. So they can actually give you a good idea on what is wrong or what is good. Here you have pool fee, and pool fee means that the pool is taking a percentage of what you're mining it of. So you're mining X amount of shares, and these shares are being charged a fee. You have two methods of mining. There is pay per last N share, and there is PPS, pay per share. For PPS, they will charge you a higher fee, as you can see here. And what this means is, for every share that your computer calculates and mines, basically your work that you do, it takes 1.5%. And what PPLNS does is it gives you a reward only once the block has been found, and then charges you a fee of 1%. And there is also a lock factor that you don't have with PPS. Best way to explain it is, every time you do a share with PPS, you will be paid out instantly. You will get your reward instantly. So there's no waiting for a block. So you will see your balance changing right away. However, there will be a much higher fee, because every share will be charged with a 1.5% fee. With PPLNS, this will be different. I'll be providing some more links at the end of this video, so you guys can read up on this, because this is actually what I'm telling you guys now is just a general information. You might want to check out this more and in depth. So I'm gonna be putting a whole lot of links on at the end of the video, and some extra information for you guys to make it easier and you guys understand everything. But that's at the end of the video, and that will be more inside information about certain aspects that I'm explaining to you guys right now. So that is pool fee covered. And Minergate charges 1% or 1.5%, so pretty good. They don't take too much. I'm not gonna really put my opinion in this video about what I think about Minergate. I just want to keep it as neutral as possible and as technical as possible, because my opinion doesn't really matter. And even if it would matter, I could be incorrect or just talking from my emotions. So I don't think that will add a lot for you guys. Here you can see workers. Workers is basically how many, not how many people are mining, but how many PCs are mining, but not really how many mining instances are mining. So for instance, let me make an example. You have two computers with one CPU and one GPU each. If you are using the Minergate client on those two computers, and you're mining with the CPU and GPU in one program, it will show you as two workers total. You have two systems, and you have 2 programs running, so you have 2 workers. However, if you have for instance the Minergate app running on your CPU, and you have another console miner running next to it, it will be 2 workers on one system. So if you use this on 2 systems, you'll have 4 workers. So this number is literally how many mining programs are running on different systems on the Minergate pool. So that will be here on this pool. I don't think this will be worldwide. No, this is not worldwide. This is the as you can see here for Bitcoin, there's 102 workers that are mining Bitcoin, so there will be not too many guys, because they need insane amount of calculational power to do those Bitcoins. So there's not too many people that have that kind of power. So there's a very few mining Bitcoin. Here you can see the rate, and this is how much one Zcash is worth in Bitcoin, I believe. Yeah, so here you have 1 Bitcoin, and these other coins, these other currencies are being rated through Bitcoin, and you can change this to US dollar, and here you can see the prices. Bitcoin is 6,000 US dollars at the moment, give or take 40, and so these are the rates. You can also put it in euro, 5k euro then for 1 Bitcoin. So this is the main page. You can see supported currencies. So I've explained to you guys now the chat and this section, and they'll be adding and changing stuff here, so you want to keep an eye on that. Alright, if we scroll down, there's some handy information here about supported alternative miners, such as console miners, CPU console miners, etc. Here you can see the launch configuration, and you can download the bat files right here to start your console miners, and also check out some handy links. So this is actually nice if you need any help starting up your console miners. You wanna check this out and click on these links to see what you need. They also have apps for phones, so Android and iPhones. So if you don't have a PC, and the phones are getting more capable every day, you have 8-core tablets and phones, so they can be used for mining, but be very careful that you don't overheat them. They tend to overheat and then also die quickly, so you need to put them in a cool spot and keep them well ventilated. But it's possible, and they have an app, so you can just download it, install it. Alright, that is their main page. Now we're gonna be going to, I'm just gonna do everything from left to right. Here they have an affiliate program. You can share your referral links and you gain a little bit of Minergate's profit. Now I have not tried this out, but if you want to use it and you have a lot of friends. I don't have any friends. So, oh, I got you guys. So you can share this. Pretty handy, and you can add a lot of folks, I think. So nice that they include this. Alright, that's affiliate program. And we're gonna go to blockchain. Pretty important. This is the blockchain and all the transaction hashes, information about every different currency's blockchain and what is going on at the moment. Also, you see the network total hash rate, basically the computational power that is needed, or that is at the moment active. And you can also see difficulty and the blockchain height at the moment. This can be handy if you have a wallet and you need to check if the blockchain height in your wallet is correct and stable and synced. So for instance, if you have a Monero wallet and your blockchain height is not 142 6543, then you have a problem and you know that something is wrong. So in mining and cryptocurrency, numbers can actually save you from a lot of problems. Just seeing something, seeing a number and checking it can verify a lot of things for you. Here you can also search for a transaction hash. There's different sites for that as well. If you send some cryptocurrency to a wallet or to another place, for instance an exchange or a trading site, you get a transaction ID. You can put that transaction here and then search for it, and then you get all kinds of information. So for instance, if we look here, we see transaction pool, and about 9 seconds ago here somebody sent 5 Zcash, and this is the fee he paid. And can click on this just as an example, and we see the hash ID, and this is important to look it up, so I just copy that, and if everything is correct, if I paste this here, we see the exact same page. Yep. Alright. And here this might be all different addresses. Here you can see the sender address. And how do I know this? Because Zcash addresses start with C or T1. They all start with T1. Now I could go more in depth about these things, but not that I know everything about it actually, but this is just an overview on your transaction. So basically the same if you send money somewhere through your bank and you get information about the withdrawal. So that is what this is about. Alright, so let's move on to the calculator. Calculator here is you can calculate your profitability for different coins. and this is expected earnings. So they give you a general overview on how much you can earn. It is always subject to change, so don't take this exactly as it is. So for instance, for crypto note coins, currency, if you have 1 hash, you will get 0.00002 Monero in 24 hours, or XMR. This is, by the way, the most profitable currency. And most profitable currency that can be argumented, because what is most profitable tomorrow or in 10 days? We don't know what Monero will do. We don't know what other coins will do. So this profitability is only based on this moment right now. It doesn't include the fact that maybe Monero in a year will be worth nothing. If you understand what I mean. We can't look in the future. So I always are a little bit careful in saying, hey, this is the best and the most profitable coin, period. Mine, nothing else. Because it doesn't work like that in cryptocurrency mining. There's a lot more to it than just, hey, checking out, hey, what gives me the most US dollars, and let's mine that. However, that being said, at the moment this is the most profitable coin for, of course, certain miners, not everybody, and these coins can then be exchanged to something else. For instance, if you would like Bitcoin, you just mine Monero the fastest and the best way, and then exchange it to something else you want, which is pretty easy to do. It takes 10-20 minutes. So you don't mine a coin that is really, really hard and you don't get anything for years. You take a coin that is good for your system to mine, and then if you don't like that coin, you can always exchange it, because I want you guys to make actually some profit and earn some money. So that is important. So here you can just calculate your profitability. So for instance, if we have say a Radiant card that does not 650 kilo hashes, but 650 hashes, you're gonna get almost, well, not almost, but near 0.1 Monero a week. And that's gonna be about, heck, 10, a little less, 6-7 US dollars. You can also just check it out in euros or in Bitcoin if you want. So that is how this works. Now, all these currencies have different algorithms that they use for mining. So Bitcoin and Litecoin use different, I think they use SHA algorithms to mine than, say, CryptoNote and Ethereum. And that also means that you will get different hash speeds. So don't if you don't know exactly what hash rate is, or if you don't know exactly what CryptoNote is and these things, that's okay. You can just look it up and see what types of coins there are and what types of algorithms there are, but each different algorithm will have another hash rate. For instance, there's also CryptoNode Lite. Actually, yeah, it's a form of CryptoNode, but that is for Ian coin, and it will give you double the hash rate. So for instance, if you have 1 kilo hashes mining Monero, you will have for Ian coin 2 kilo hashes, so double. This all depends on the difficulty and the algorithm. Now if you go to Ethereum, that same card that does 2 kilo hashes on CryptoNode Lite for Ian coin will do maybe 20 mega hashes or something, you know, in that trend for Ethereum. So it will do a whole other speed. Why is that? Well, that has to do with the algorithm, and it also has to do with the difficulty that you're mining a currency. So a high difficulty will mean that the GPU has to think much harder and use way more resources. Not exactly, but in a general sense. So yeah, that's the calculator. And as said, this is basically a very well estimate. So don't think that if you have 1 kilo hashes, don't think that you will mine this exactly, because you might have some bad shares, you might have, you know, some drunk roommates that spill some beer on your router and fry everything, and you know, you'll be out it for a couple days. Maybe some invalid shares, maybe some other problems. So yeah, just a general overview on how much you can make. All right. Also, yeah, Minergate gives you the ability to cloud mine. I haven't really done this, and I would be really careful with this. And I think it only works if you throw a couple $100 on it in Bitcoin. And but be very careful in sending Bitcoin somewhere, and especially if you don't know if it works. Not to say that it doesn't work, but it is tough times for cryptocurrency miners because there's no laws protecting us. So if you send $5,000 worth in Bitcoin somewhere and they don't deliver, I mean, you can get a good lawyer, but that doesn't mean anything because Minergate isn't located in your country probably. So, and there's no laws about cryptocurrency. So you get my point. Always do your research. It's the same as walking to a random person on the street and giving them $5,000 or something like that and expecting something in return. Well, in my head it is. I'm a little bit skeptic. But I always, most of the times, I prepare for the worst and hope for the best. And that is, you know, I call it actually risk management. The less risk, the less problems. But that to say is maybe it works fine and you can actually earn some money with it. And there's a lot of websites you can do cloud mining. some are better than others, so just do your research about that. Alright, now we're getting somewhere. Going to downloads. So what is this? This is very important actually. Once you have made an account here on Minergate, just log in, use your email and set it up. Download the client. Here you have either console miners, which can be handy for servers and certain configurations that it's harder to just run a normal app, a normal program on. And here you can download them for Windows, Mac, Linux, and also you have an alternative miner link. So there's the console miners at, and this is the GUI miners, so basically the graphic interface for beginners, people starting with miners. This is a great way on how to start and see if something is working. So you download this if you have 64-bit or 32-bit, and here you can see also they have different apps for different operating systems. For instance, on Linux you can get a lot more effective Ethereum mining, and sometimes also other coins, but sometimes it will not work on Linux. So again, you have to do your research, because if you want to mine a certain coin and you have installed Linux, prepared everything, and then find out that that specific coin or that specific algorithm has a problem, you have spent a couple days for nothing. So always do your research on that. What is supported, what is well optimized for which, etc, etc. Alright, so that is those links, and here you can see the previous versions of the Minergate app, 6.9, 6.8, 6.6. So if maybe something doesn't work in 7.0 for you, or maybe you get a little bit slower hash rate, you can always go back to a previous version and check. Alright, now we're gonna be clicking on alternative miners, and here are some links for other miners that you can use, and these are console miners mostly, either for your CPU or your GPU, for different coins. Now some of these are actually outdated. They haven't really updated this section in a while, because there's more recent miners. For instance, you have XMR Rig, you have CC Miner for NVIDIA. So those aren't, you don't see those here. So there's actually, sometimes it helps to just Google and find the latest version. But again, here is just general on how to start those console miners, with links to the discussion and the link where to download it. And also you can download here, this button here, it will be downloading a bet. You will get a false positive in some browsers saying that it's dangerous file. That is just a false positive, so don't worry about that. Also, you will get false positives with miners saying in Windows Defender that it's a virus or a Trojan or something else. Those are all false positives, so there's no Trojan. Windows Defender or other antiviruses just don't know exactly what it is, so they just put it as a dangerous virus, but that is not the case, so don't worry about that, and you can just use that. And also you can exclude it in your antivirus or Windows Defender, so it doesn't keep isolating the file. It can be pretty irritating. Microsoft always interfering with business. Bill Gates is always there trying to take our money. So yeah, that's the download section. Some general information. Reading helps. The more you read, the better. Asking questions is good, but always do it after you have done your homework, because if somebody gives you an answer based on their experience and their knowledge, it might not necessarily be the right answer. So if you take that for a fact, for instance, if you ask me something and I'll say, yeah, that's the best coin, that's the best miner, and I've been doing this for a couple of years, yeah, great. And you use that miner for years, but there's other miners that gives you maybe 20-30% more hash rate, more mining speed that I don't know about. You can see my point. It's always better to do your own research, because then you actually know what is going on and the difference between certain things. And especially with mining, this can mean a lot. We're talking a lot of money here. Alright, so also you can see here they have a frequent asked questions section here that you can check out, and they give you some basic information. Now this is actually pretty handy. You might want to scroll and read a little bit about it. Some of it is outdated, but this is mostly concerning Minergate here. But they can give you some good tips on how to do things, if you have problems setting up your miners or problems with the site or whatever, you can check this out. Alright, let's go back to downloads, and I think I've covered this pretty much everything. So here you can actually download what you need for whatever OS or whatever technical equipment you are using. Alright, now we're gonna click on dashboard. Dashboard is where it's at. Now we're gonna, this video here, we're starting the video right now at the dashboard. This is where the important information about your mining speed and your currency that you're mining will be shown. You want to keep a good eye on this. However, that being said, this dashboard can be a little bit slow. This dashboard will not be updated every second, and it will not be precise. Also, in a few days time, the dashboard is usually stuck or they're updating it. And why is that? Well, because Minergate is a huge website and a lot of information goes down, so you wanna use this dashboard as a rule of thumb and a general clock to see what is going on and what your hash rate is, how many coins are unconfirmed, etc., etc. I'll be explaining what these things mean now. Alright, as you can see here, there's a couple different buttons. First, I'm going to be explaining the dashboard now. If we go to, say, Ian Coin, there's all kinds of information and numbers here. And first of all, here it says U, and then you have the hash rate. This is your hash rate and what you're doing at the moment, your mining speed. So it's important to keep an eye on this and to see if this is correct and balanced with the hash rate in your console miners or your GUI miners. It will also show your workers, so how many workers you have active if you're mining. And also this will change to online if you're mining. Now, if we were mining Ian coin and we have a certain hash rate, for instance 500 hashes, you will see the unconfirmed amount add up. This amount. This is going to be changing. And this will be adding up and adding up and adding up till it reaches a certain threshold, which is different for different currencies. And once you have hit that threshold, it will go to total mined balance. And it will go here. So don't worry if you see here 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, because first it's gonna go to unconfirmed, and before that you don't see anything. It depends on which reward method you're using, which I explained at the blockchain section. You have here pay per last N share, which gives you a fee of 1%, and pay per share. Pay per share will mean that it will be instantly going to your unconfirmed balance. PPLNS will mean that this unconfirmed amount will only change if there has been found a block. So that can mean that can take a couple minutes, depending on the difficulty of the coin, depending on the different currency that you're mining. For Ian coin it takes minutes, you know, half an hour perhaps. But for another coin, for instance Zcash is a very small pool. I don't recommend mining Zcash on Minergate. Very little miners. We can actually check when you're gonna be paid out. They only have paper last N share active for Zcash, so these people are mining in this pool, but they haven't gotten any rewards, these people. And why haven't they gotten any rewards? I will show you. It's very important that use this dashboard in combination with pool stats. That is this button right here. Pool stats will give you the statistics of the pools and the blocks found at the moment, which is really basically about your income and your balance. So let's go to pool stats for a second for Zcash. We can see here that there's about 750 miners for Zcash, which is not too many actually. Now if we click on pool stats and we go to Zcash or SEC, what do we see here? We see here the reward methods that are available for this cryptocurrency. We see here the world hash rate, and we see here the pool hash rate. You can see that the pool hash rate it's not bad. but it's just not enough for Zcash. What does that mean? That means that there hasn't been found any block since a month ago. The last block for Zcash on this particular Minergate pool, on the Minergate Zcash pool, was found at this time. That means that the miners that are mining at the moment, in what I know, or at least what I understand, will get nothing if there will be no block found in this particular blockchain height. So they will not get anything if the pool doesn't find a block, but another pool does, if you guys understand what I mean. So I don't know why they're still mining. Maybe they're thinking, hey, we're gonna be finding a block, which they probably will, but it could be in a month's time. So these people are mining, but all the shares that all the work that they're putting in, it might not be paid out. That is what I'm trying to tell you guys. So dashboard, pool stats, these two go hand in hand, and you always want to be checking those out. It will show you everything about the blocks. For instance, for Ethereum, you can see here that 17 hours a block has been found. So this is actually doing pretty good, because blocks are being found every single day. So people are being paid out. Okay, now let's go back to dashboard for a second, because I haven't really covered that. And we're gonna go back to Ian Coin. So I showed you guys how to use those pool stats in combination with the dashboard to give you more an overview on what is what in the dashboard and how your coins are doing. Here you can see the miners active for Ian Coin. Here you can see again the world hash rate, blockchain height, difficulty of the currency that you're mining. Difficulty is important to know. If a coin has a very high difficulty, you will need a lot of computational power. You will need lots of calculations to get a share. That's why it is very hard to mine a Bitcoin, because the difficulty is extreme, as you can see here. And as you can see here, the difference with Bitcoin difficulty and Zcash difficulty, well, it's a lot. I'd say Bitcoin difficulty is thousands of times more difficult than the Zcash currency. So this gives you a good clue on maybe, hey, that's too difficult for my laptop or my phone. I'm gonna be doing another coin, because you don't want to be spending all your time on a coin and then have nothing, because you've mined for years and you don't even have enough to send it somewhere, because the fee is already higher than what you have mined. So be very careful about that, and don't think, hey, I'm gonna do that coin. And so do your research about that. what else is there? Oh yeah, here you can see the good shares. Good shares is basically the work that you have put in. For every good share you get paid. So the more shares you do, the more money you make. Also, there is bad shares, and there also can appear here invalid shares. These are shares that are not accepted by the pool, or are too late, basically, in a general sense, and they can give you a penalties. What can cause these things? You having bad shares? Many factors. For instance, you have a really slow computer, a really slow computer, and that computer is just not fast enough to send those shares back, so they're not being used. Another example is you're mining on a laptop sitting somewhere in the desert, and you have a really crappy Wi-Fi connection, and you're getting invalid shares. That is because your internet is not really healthy. Another example is there's a problem with the pool or Minergate itself, and you're just churning out these bad shares as good shares. If that happens, you know that something is wrong either on the Minergate side, or perhaps you have to reboot your computer, restart the client, just reset something so you can mine those good shares again. So there can be a huge amount of factors that can cause a bad share or an invalid share. It's hard to say. So keep an eye on that. Very important is to check those good shares. If you are doing good shares, if good shares keep changing, you are mining. If they're not, you're not mining. So this is the first thing you want to look at always in the dashboard. Am I getting good shares? If you're getting good shares, it's gonna go to unconfirmed. So step 1, check good shares. Step 2, check unconfirmed. If your unconfirmed amount threshold has been met, which is different for every coin, I will put that information at the end of the video for every single currency once it will be confirmed. So for instance, X amount of unconfirmed EON coins will go to confirmed and to your balance, but not earlier. So if you haven't hit that threshold, nothing will appear here, and that is perfectly fine. Nothing is wrong. That is just how it goes. Depending on the currency, this can take days, minutes. Depending on your mining speed, this can take days or minutes or hours. Usually this takes half an hour, 10 minutes for the block to be found or the shares to be confirmed. It also depends on your reward method. For instance, if you have PPS, you have nothing to worry about. You don't need to wait. It will be instantly paid out, pay per share. So every good share you put in, unconfirmed amount will change. And once this has hit the threshold, it will go to the balance, which then you will be able to withdraw or transfer. Here you can to an address, and with transfer you can transfer to another Minergate account using your email, which is handy if you have some problems or your account has been corrupted and you need to transfer your currency somewhere to another account, perhaps. These buttons here. Alright, so that is the dashboard covered, and you can see here your total account balance in USD, euros, whatever, and you can also see what you're mining, how many currencies you're mining here, and total mined, totally mined forever. Also, this will include the amounts that you have withdrawn. This will not. This will only be the balance that you have at the moment. So different things. Alright, I think I've covered this pretty much. And here you can just move them down or hide them. You know, whichever coins you'll be mining, you put them at the top. Alright, that's the dashboard. Now we're gonna go to reward history. Here you can see the reward history for this method of payment for Ethereum and Ethereum Classic. So this is handy for the people that are mining Ethereum or ETC and want to check their rewards. Here you will see information when you have gotten a reward and at what time, etc. So keep an eye on this. You can also then check right away if something is wrong. Use this again in combination with the pool stats to see, to verify that, for instance, has a block been found? At what time has the block been found? And hey, did I get my rewards? Did I get my payment? Alright. Withdrawal history speaks for itself. This will be showing all your history of all your withdrawals from your Minergate account to any different wallet. So if you have made a withdrawal for SEC, or you have made a withdrawal for ETC somewhere, you will show it. It will be appearing right here. Transfer history also speaks for itself. This will be the transfer history, I believe, to other Minergate accounts, if I am correct. So withdrawal history is actually the withdrawals that you make to any other external source. Profile, here you can change your profile information and set up security and those different kinds of things. And there will be personal information here. So yeah, I'm gonna be skipping that. So at profile you can just change your username, add a second email, add a two-factor verification, and see who was logging into your account and that kind of stuff. Pretty handy. Invoices, I think, are connected to hashing power and contracts. So if you have perhaps a hashing power, a mining contract, a cloud mining contract, you will see perhaps hear something that's gonna be appearing that it's at the moment working or inactive or incomplete. I haven't actually gotten any invoices ever, so I don't really know what will be appearing here, but I assume that it will be connected with the cloud mining. If they send you any information or any things that they need or something to confirm, it will be here in your invoices. Alright, hashing power is here. You can create a contract for cloud mining, and you can buy hashing power for bitcoins, and then you can then they will be cloud mining for you. As I told earlier, you want to be really careful with that. I do know that it works for some people, but don't expect to send them a couple of dollars and get a lot of bitcoins. It doesn't work that way. It will take months and months before you've gotten anything back. So don't think, hey, I'm gonna be doing this for $5 and I'll have 10 bitcoins tomorrow. No, that's not how it works. It's actually helpful to ask in the chat about cloud mining, because honestly, I haven't used cloud mining, so I don't know too much about it. So I don't want to scare you guys off or say something that is incomplete. But they do offer it, and you know, it looks okay. But there might be better cloud mining contracts out there. Alright, so yeah, we got everything now. Dashboard, cloud mining. Yeah, cloud mining is here. That is basically this. Hashing power, cloud mining is the same button. Pool stats. Now I've shown you what pool stats do, and for instance, if we go, let's see, for actually I don't know if Dash, it might not be a dead coin, but it's not digital cash. DSH is another coin than Dash. Dash is worth about $200, and this coin is a whole different coin. So for the new people that are thinking, hey, oh my god, this is Dash, $200, I'm mining right now, I got 40 Dash. You actually see people in the chat that thought that this was Dash, and they were really happy that they got a lot, and then only to find out that they mined a couple cents. Yeah, that happens, and that's also the reason why I'm making this video, guys. It's been a while now that already spent an hour on this video, but I want to take the time with this because I cannot explain this in a hurry, and I didn't want to explain it in a hurry. I wanted to explain everything because there's a ton of people, thousands of people every day in the Minergate chat asking questions, and they're asking the same questions every day because all these people are new and they don't know what the hell is going on. So to make it easier for all those folks, I decided to make a really in-depth video to explain the whole site and also the miners, so that people get the information faster and also can start mining more efficiently and less problems will arise. I don't want people to lose coins, and I certainly don't want people to be mining something that is useless or cannot be used, or that they haven't really checked out well. So that's the purpose of this video. Alright, so that is Dash. And if we go to other pool stats here, for instance, this is digital note XDN. Here you can see just the abbreviation of that coin. So Zcash will be ZAC, Ethereum will be ETH, and so on, so on. Basically just a shortcut, short name. And here you can see that the pool hash rate is about almost near the entire world hash rate. So that means that here on Minergate, this pool is doing almost all the mining for digital node globally, worldwide. There's about 0.1 mega hashes on other pools. What does that mean? Well, it's very simple. The bigger your pool is, the more computational power you have. You can see here, it's a lot of hash rate. That means that this pool is really fast in finding blocks. And that means that the pool gets rewards faster. Because if you are solo mining, for instance, or if you are mining in a small pool, and your reward method is PPLNS, and you don't find a block, you will get nothing, even though you're mining. Because there's another pool, another big fish, that's eating all the smaller fish. And you, as a little fish, can't really do anything about it. If you're a small fish and there's a huge shark eating, you best hide yourself. So that is how it works a little bit in the cryptocurrency world. It's basically, it's like an ocean. You got big fish, big pools, and you got smaller pools. Now this doesn't mean that a larger pool is better than a smaller pool. No, it doesn't. These can be difficult to understand. For instance, you can have a smaller pool that still finds blocks pretty decently and give you a better payout because there's less people. So for instance, if you find a block, there will be a reward given. In a large pool, that reward will be divided by a huge amount of miners, so you will get very little of that block reward, as we call it. However, you will get a reward really fast, and also your unconfirmed amounts will be adding up really fast, as you can see here, in minutes and hours. So all these blocks have been found. They're gonna be going to unlocked in a matter of time, and once they have been unlocked, basically once they have been found and confirmed, basically once they have become a part of the blockchain, you will get paid on your balance if you have the reward method of PPLNS. If you have the reward method of PPS, you don't need to worry about this. You're getting paid per share. There's no luck factor involved. and you're getting paid per share, period. So PPS is actually recommended for testing if something is not working, if you have problems with PPLNS, or if you want to be 100% sure that you get paid out. However, like I explained earlier, they'll be charging you a fee of 1.5%. And this depends on different pools. They have different rules, different fees. So it's best to check that out. I'll be putting more information about the reward system later on at the end of the video, because it is actually important, and I do see a lot of difference with PPS or PPLNS, because I think personally it's a lot of difference if 1.5% of every share gets taken instead of a percentage of a certain block, 1% of a block reward, because that is much less than charging 1.5% from every single share that you do. But hey, I'm not a mathematical prodigy, so, and it's getting pretty late as well, so my math game isn't really up to par. But what I have noticed is that PPS pays you out a lot less. However, it can be more precise and more reliable. So that is the bargain. There's always two sides. Every single thing has, a good side and a bad side. Alright, so that is pool stats. Pool stats is actually, if you are talking about important things on the website, pool stats is really important, and as well as dashboard. This is where you're going to be spending and checking your time if you're mining here. Alright, we're gonna go to last button. Here they actually have a blog. Nice to read and get some more information on what they're doing, updates, and also they have a newsletter, so you can subscribe right here, and they'll keep you up to date if some new coins have been added or something is changing. I do recommend this because days mean a lot. I mean, if a coin has been added and the difficulty is low, you can make a lot of money in those days. So if you get up to date with something, those first few weeks, they can actually give you a head start, because later on everybody has jumped on the boat, difficulty has gone up, so everybody will get less. Alright, so there's a forum as well. Haven't really checked that out, but yeah, looks pretty cool. Minergate forum. So you can always go on this forum if you have any questions and check it out. Okay, that is the Minergate website explained. Now if we scroll down below, if we go back to the main page and we scroll down, there's also some more information here. Actually, I wanted to show you guys this one, charts. the rest is basically just company information about them, and job opportunities, and pool fees, just information about the site, or whatever social media links. But this is actually handy here. I didn't actually know this was there, but here you can see pretty nice stats, and can disable these ones in providing you information about this currency and different things here. So for instance, you see block rewards for Bitcoin. You can see coins in circulation. Bitcoin has a cap of 21 million. It's going to 17 million at the moment, so that means there's 4 million Bitcoins left to mine. If all the Bitcoins have been mined, it will be a lot harder to come by Bitcoin, which in turn will logically drive up the price. Here you can see the network hash rate and the changes. Here you can see difficulty, and this is all nice to see in a chart. Also, I'll be providing some more links for checking out cryptocurrency information at the end for you guys. So I think I've covered most, if not everything here, and I'll be going to the Minergate app, Windows 10 graphical interface. Basically, I'm gonna be calling it the Minergate client 7.0 v7, and I'll be running you guys through that at the moment. I'm gonna close this one. So here you can see the Minergate client. And here you can see the different coins. If you check here, be sure that you log in extended mode, and be sure that you don't log out. In earlier versions there was a pretty nasty bug that kept saying, giving you a connection error. If you have that bug, if it says please check your connection, it's a false bug. My solution was actually to keep pressing the button log in till it works, and you might need to do that 10 times, 100 times. You might need to restart your computer even, but it's a false bug and it doesn't mean anything. But I do think that it has been fixed, but I haven't logged out for eons, so I know that bug existed. And just to tell you guys, if you have that problem, you cannot log in, keep bashing the login button till it works. Make sure that your password is everything is correct, and be sure to press extended mode. You log in to extended mode, because otherwise you'll be missing some buttons here, and you'll not be able to do some things here in the client. Now this is the Minergate client you can use to mine, and you have here a smart miner. I don't recommend using this ever, because this is not good. This is a smart miner that thinks it's smart. However, this changes all the time, and you don't want to put your hashing power and your computers in the responsibility of some old app. You wanna think for yourself and mine what you think is right at the moment. So this smart mining thinks that, hey, it's gonna be the best, but this is just based on algorithms that which currency has the highest exchange rate, etc. This doesn't mean much in the long term. So here you have miner, and here you can see CPU mining, and here you can set your course. I'm recording this video on my Ryzen system, which has 16 threads. Now this client can only use 8 cores. If you go higher than that, nothing will happen. You will not gain more hash rate. I do hope that they will fix that sooner or later, but what I know is that it's unable to use more threads. I haven't found any miner that can use more power, also console, than those 8 threads at 50%. So maybe in the future there will be a better CPU miner. It's much needed, but hey. But there's a way to go around this. For instance, you can set up 2 different console miners on one system, and you can run both of them. However, you have to really fine-tune that stuff. It's not gonna happen in a client. So this is for beginners, or just people just getting started with mining, or just you wanna mine easily, you don't have time to set up all these console miners, you can use the Minergate client. So here you can see dash, and here you can start mining, and you can set your course. Now here you have GPU mining. This is the graphics processing unit, and if you have more than 1 GPUs, it will also be shown here. Will be another button, and you can set the intensity. Basically that means on how much the GPU will be used. So if you set it to 1, it will be having a little bit lower temperature than 4. And also your computer might not be becoming very slow. If you set it to 4, all the resources will be diverted to the GPU, so your system can become a little bit sluggish. Alright, here you can see shares good and bad. Already explained those, but you see them here as well. And also you see last share. So if you are mining, these will change, and these will show 1 second, 10 seconds, till that share gets added to good shares over here. And that is where your balance will go. Shares difficulty will be the difficulty of the shares at the moment. This will change. If a lot of people are mining and the difficulty goes up, this number goes up as well. Unconfirmed balance, you guys know what that is. That is once you have gotten a couple good shares, it will go to unconfirmed. Once it hits a certain threshold in the unconfirmed balance, it will go here to your currency balance, which then you will be able to withdraw. So if I wanna send me some, this coin is actually not a good example because I think Dash is a little bit dead coin. But for instance, if I want to send some Ethereum or some Monero, oh yeah, very important to explain as well, almost forgot about that. there are certain thresholds that you need before you can send something. So for instance, for Monero XMR, you need 0.1 to send. If you have less, you can't send it. So that is important to know, and this is different for each currency. So for Ethereum it will be different. You see, you need less. For Ethereum it will be a little bit easier to send it. And also the fee that you need to send it. You know, there is for some coins it's a high fee, and for others it's a lower fee. It depends. Bitcoin has really large and high fees. That is because Bitcoin is worth extreme amount of money, and also because the network is really digested, so it takes a huge amount of computational power for one transaction, so the fees are very, very high. This is unavoidable. You always need to set a fee. If you don't set a fee, you risk losing your funds. If you set a too low fee, it might take 100 years to arrive at your wallet. So listen to me very carefully when I say don't go cheap on the fee. So it's better to put a little bit more fee, or just put it at the fee that is recommended here, or just ask people what is a good fee amount, and do your research on that. So you need a fee. It needs to be, the miners need to be rewarded for the transaction, and so you can send your stuff, your currencies. Alright, what else? Other pools. I think here you can add other pools and use this client to mine. Haven't really figured this out, but it's possible if you want to do this, and if you know how to set it up. Benchmark, this is basically a benchmark from Minergate that you can benchmark your CPU and GPU mining. Does it mean a lot? No, it doesn't, because your hashing power will differ with different coins, and this score will, I mean, sure, it will show you how fast your PC is, or if you have a capable machine, but it won't show you anything else. It's just basically this is a fun benchmark, just for fun, just for amusement. It gives you a couple of things, but just the general information about hey, your rig is good, or it sucks. And that still doesn't mean anything, because you can have a really good system and mine a different coin, or do something wrong, and the guy that doesn't have that good of a system has done his homework better and he's mining the correct coin, or so it's not always who has the best system or the most powerful system. It's more about cryptocurrency mining and trading is basically knowledge is power. The more you read, the more you know, the better you can see certain situations, the better you can read those stats, the better you can read those charts, and that all aids you in getting to know different coins. Now, coins are popping up by the hundreds every month, so huge amount of cryptocurrency. New cryptocurrency is being added every day, so the market is growing exponentially. So it's very important to keep a cool head. You can't possibly mine millions of different coins and still keep cool. You gotta put your money on a good horse, and to speak like that, you gotta know if that horse is healthy. What has the horse eaten today? If you know, or what kind of trainer does the horse have? These details, these things, they tell you everything. Sometimes you can know everything about a person just by seeing how he picks up a glass, or does his dishes, or walks, reads a paper. You know almost everything about that person. And that's also about cryptocurrencies. You can read something about a cryptocurrency and that can mean so much. But if you haven't noticed it, for instance, if you have put all your money on a horse and you didn't know that the horse, well, his trainer wasn't really there, and maybe the horse was a little bit sick, or wasn't feeling that well, and you bet all your money on the horse, lost, and then in hindsight you can almost, you get really pissed on yourself because, hey, why the hell didn't I check that horse out a little better, did my research on it? That's your own mistake. Is it a mistake or a learning phase? That it depends on your perception. Mistakes are good if you learn from it. Mistakes are the best because you gain something, you gain knowledge. If you make a mistake, if you do something wrong, next time you won't do it. Hopefully. Because hey, that's not a good coin to mine. That coin is dead. So you guys understand what I mean, hopefully. Achievements, hey, you can get some badges here. And I have not found cloud. If somebody has found cloud, put it in the comment section. Is there anybody out there who has found cloud? And what the hell is the prize that you get? So yeah, this is the dashboard explained. Sorry, the client, Minergate client, and they might add more coins in the future. I know they're working on Bitcoin Gold. It's gonna be forked in a day. So the people that have Bitcoin, they'll also get Bitcoin Gold, and it's gonna go live. Maybe Minergate will add it. It will be possible to mine that coin with GPUs. It's gonna be interesting. So I'm excited about that. Bitcoin Gold, Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin Dark, Bitcoin Light, Bitcoin Heavy. I'm not gonna put my opinion about that here. But like I said, coins are popping up like mushrooms in a forest, and you want to be careful which to eat, which to take home. I'm speaking in metaphors now. It's getting really late, so but for real, I hope that I have covered everything. I'm gonna be closing this down now. I'm gonna be making myself a tea and taking a shower perhaps, but that's that. almost a 2-hour video for you guys. It's gonna be a blast to render out. I'm gonna be working on this video tomorrow to finish it, to add everything, good information. I'll be adding in the description, I'll be adding some stuff. Maybe I'll even put a donation address in there so you can get you big guys, or you guys that already have those millions, can send me some coins. Don't feel obliged to. I'm not begging, but I'll be if you wanna thank me, or if I helped you guys a little bit, you can always send me a message or a comment, and I'll appreciate it. But I'll be putting up some links in the description for sure, and add anything important as well. And so yeah, that is how to use Minergate and the website, client and the website. Hopefully you guys know more about mining and what it means, how to see certain information on the website, and how to link that with the client and the dashboard, pull stats, and how you can keep your head cool and also know when something is not working right. So if you're doing those good shares, make sure you check those pull stats, if those blocks are getting found. If you're not getting any rewards, what the hell is wrong? Maybe it's your connection, maybe it's the Minergate website. Always check out the chat, because if something is wrong, they will either, I'm gonna show it to you guys. If something is wrong, or they're doing maintenance, they will put a message right here where my mouse is. They'll put a notification here. And also you can see in the chat, I'll be putting up this at the end of the video for you guys, the confirmations on the different coins. So for instance, Ethereum, you will only get Ethereum on your account balance once you hit 0.001, not sooner. So don't panic if you don't see anything in your unconfirmed, because first you have to make good shares, then a block has to be found, and then it will be going to your unconfirmed. Once that unconfirmed hits the threshold, which will be this number, which is specific for every different currency, different algorithms, then it will go to your balance, which you will then be able to withdraw to wherever you want. So you can send it to an exchange right away, or you can send it to your wallet, whatever you want. Be very careful that, for instance, an example, if you send your funds to an exchange site or a trading site, sometimes you need to add a transaction ID with it. I don't know if I can show you guys that. Let's see. No, it's not. It doesn't appear here, but sometimes it will appear, and you will be able to put a transaction ID as well. And you have to be careful, because if you send it to a trading site that only accepts a withdrawal with a transaction ID, and you do not include that transaction ID it will not go to your that wallet, so you will lose it. This is the reason why certain trading sites have either stopped accepting some coins or stopped working with the transaction ID. So be careful about that, and make sure that the address that you send it to is copy and pasted, and double check it always. And I also recommend, if you withdraw stuff, especially if you are a new miner, you've set up your wallet, you're ready to mine, you watch this video, you know, you done your stuff, you're ready to go. Okay, now fast forward a couple months and you have gained something, you've mined something on Minergate, you have actually a nice amount here, maybe a couple Ethereum Classic, maybe 1 or 2 Ethereum, and you want to withdraw it. Before you withdraw everything in one transaction, my advice, don't. Send it in a couple transactions. Unless the fee is really too steep for you, send it in, send a little bit to the address, make sure that it works. For instance, a trading site, exchange, check if it works, maybe $20, $30, and then send another amount. Because if something goes wrong and you have sent everything, you've lost everything. So again, risk management applies big time to withdrawals. For some coins the fee is low, so you can withdraw as often as you like. So that is my advice. It's better to send 4 Ethereum in 4 different transactions than in one transaction. If you are not 100% sure, or you want to be certain that it's gonna work. So yeah, I'm gonna be concluding and ending this video right now. Either way, I hope you guys appreciate this video, and be sure to check out the links in the description and at the end for all the extra information that you need. For instance, the unconfirmed threshold amounts that you need before it goes to your balance, some other links. So yeah, do not be afraid to put questions in the comment section, and I hope you guys have a good week, and take it easy. Peace.